Remember the story of Jonah and the whale from when you were a kid? A grumpy prophet gets swallowed by a big fish, then preaches to a wicked city called Nineveh and everyone repents. It's a nice story, but the real Nineveh wasn't a cartoon city. It was the capital of Assyria, the most brutal and feared superpower of the ancient world. They were famous for their cruelty, for flaying their enemies alive and stacking their skulls in pyramids. And here's the incredible part. Nineveh isn't just a city from a story. Archaeologists have walked through its palaces, read its tablets, and dug through its ashes. The Bible tells us that God sent not one, but two prophets to this city. First he sent Jonah with a message of mercy, and then, 100 years later, he sent another prophet named Nahum with a message of judgment. What can the ruins of this once great city tell us about these two warnings? Let's find out. The book of Jonah is a wild ride. God tells Jonah to go warn Nineveh, but Jonah runs in the opposite direction. He gets on a boat, a storm hits, he's thrown overboard and then swallowed by a great fish. After 3 days, the fish spits him out, and a very reluctant Jonah finally heads to Nineveh. He walks into the city and preaches the shortest sermon ever. 40 more days and Nineveh will be overthrown. And then something shocking happens. The Bible says, the Ninevites believed God. From the king on his throne to the simplest herdsman, the entire city fasted, put on sackcloth, and repented. For a city with a reputation like Nineveh's, this was a miracle. Today, a hill in modern Mosul called Nabi Yunus is traditionally known as the burial site of the prophet Jonah, a lasting reminder of this incredible event. Just how big was this city Jonah walked into? The Bible says it was an exceedingly great city, a 3 days journey in extent. For a long time, scholars thought this was an exaggeration. But archaeology has revealed that Nineveh wasn't just the inner-walled city. It included a vast network of suburbs, parks, and gardens, stretching for miles. It was easily the largest city on earth at the time. The Assyrian king Sennacherib called his home there the palace without rival. He built massive walls, 18 gates named after gods, and an incredible system of canals and aqueducts to bring water to his lush gardens, which some scholars think might be the real hanging gardens. When you look at the reconstructions and the sprawling ruins today, you start to realize that Jonah's 3 days journey was no exaggeration. Imagine walking through one of those gates. You'd be greeted by colossal statues of Lamasa, fierce, winged bulls with human heads, carved from single blocks of stone, designed to intimidate all who entered. Inside, the palaces were lined with reliefs depicting the king's power and cruelty. But Nineveh's greatest treasure was discovered in the mid-1800s. The great library of Ashurbanipal. It contained between 20 and 30,000 clay tablets. This wasn't just tax records, it was the collected knowledge of Mesopotamia. We found their creation myths, medical texts, and even their version of the Great Flood story, the Epic of Gilgamesh. These tablets provide an unparalleled window into the world of the Old Testament, confirming the names, places, and events the Bible talks about. But Nineveh's golden age didn't last. About a century after Jonah, the city had returned to its violent ways. God sent a second prophet Nahum, but this time, the message was final. Nahum declared, "Woe to the bloody city, all full of lies and plunder." He prophesied that its gates would be consumed by fire, its people scattered, and the city itself would become a desolate wasteland. In 612 BC, this prophecy came true with terrifying precision. A coalition of Babylonians and Medes besieged Nineveh. They diverted the river, weakening the mud brick walls, and stormed the city. What archaeologists have found is chilling. Thick layers of ash, sometimes several feet deep, tell of a massive fire. They've found collapsed walls, arrowheads embedded in the gateways, and even the unburied skeletons of soldiers and citizens who fell where they fought. The once invincible capital of the world's greatest empire was utterly destroyed, just as Nahum had foretold. The story of Nineveh is a powerful tale of two warnings. In Jonah, we see God's incredible mercy, his willingness to forgive even the most wicked city if they turn back to him. In Nahum, we see God's perfect justice, that pride and cruelty will eventually face a day of reckoning. It's a message that was true for the empire of Assyria, and is still true for nations and for each of us today. God offers mercy, but his warnings must be heeded. The stones of Nineveh, buried for 2,500 years, are still speaking, reminding us of both the grace and the gravity of God. Thanks for exploring these ancient ruins with us. If you found this interesting, hit that like button and let me know in the comments by typing Nineveh. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos where we connect the Bible with archaeology. You might also like our videos on the siege of Lachish or Hezekiah's tunnel. See you next time.